Everyone, morning. Oh look, what's that over there? Is that the consequence of a rather strange and contorted, insane quiz night? What a fabulous quiz night. It was great fun. I've done my back in, I've done my knees in, I've done my ankles in, I've done everything in. Nads has scooted out this morning looking very glam. Don't know what she's off for. I think it's a photo shoot or something. So how are we all? Calligraphy with Grace, aka Sheila Patterson. Maybe that's why I never get a shout out, because my name is too long. Calligraphy with Grace, aka Sheila Patterson. It is a long name, that be granted. But I think Calligraphy with Grace, aka Sheila Patterson, I think I've called it out 3 times now. And with all due respect, I don't think I've seen it that often, because that's the kind of long name I'd see a lot. But anyway, I hope you're well. Calligraphy with Grace, aka Sheila Patterson. Joanna Blackburn, Nicola Wilson, Emma McGregor. Well, congratulations to you card winners. Thank you, Lorraine Eads. Yeah, the Just Giving page is still up today. I think we went way beyond what Nadia was hoping for, what we were both hoping for last night, which was 1,000. It cheered me up, Linda Donnelly. I mean, I must admit, I was absolutely cream crackered afterwards. I was on the sofa like that. And even Real Housewives of Salt Lake City couldn't revive me. I love that shit. I own it. I want to be I don't know, I just love it. It's just cataclysmically weird. And of course, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has got the whole added bonus of Mormonism. That's hard to say. Mormonism and religious virtue but weird shit in there, man. There's weird shit. One of the wives in Salt Lake City, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, has married her step-grandfather. I kid you not, Salsa Trish, it is a new one. I kid you not. You have missed the weekend's vlogs. What happened? What weekend vlogs? Oh, you mean the lives? A weekend vlog went out on Friday. You're gonna get another vlog today and another vlog tomorrow, because of course, what is it tomorrow? Oh, it's the first day of Vlogmas. I shit you not. And that makes me a little bit panicky, because we need to be filming loads and loads and loads of stuff. Gabrielle, we are so looking forward to the last episode of The Undoing. Words cannot even say that we're going to find out who took that hammer, who placed the hammer in the violin case, who hammered in the morning, and who hammered in the evening, all over this land. So, yeah, we'll be posting about that on Instagram later today. Morning, Sir Adderley, Stacey ****. Another huge thank you to Stacey Randall last night for her beautifully constructed quiz night, in which she seamlessly dovetailed between Vlogmas, vlog, family-orientated questions and general knowledge in a beautifully manageable, answerable, but tricky enough for you to have to go, I wonder what the answer to that is. Very clever. Betty Bobbitt from Prisoner Cell Block H has died. That is sad news. Hi, Jacqueline Frost, Sonia Donovan, Grandma Rosie's channel. So excited for Vlogmas. I'm excited about your channel, Grandma Rosie's channel. What a brilliant name. FIFA Boy Darren, hello. Hope you're well. Can't wait for your Vlogmas, Hayley May. Take that off the radiator. No! Pete's off to work. Can you say hi? Hi, Pete. Zara Tases Pete, that is. Those questions were fantastic, Stacey. You are ace, or as a Scouse would say, your boss. Very, very good. Faith Goodman, hello Mark, Nadia, Nanny Di and everyone. I think Boris is going to be in a bit of a pickle with the backbenchers, realising that Boris does not tell the truth, and where is the evidence and science? Boris Johnson is definitely on a bit of a retreat. He's definitely having to scroll back, isn't he? Dial back on the whole tier system. But the news today is that infections, quelle surprise, to quote David Jason in Only Fools and Horses. I'm not going French. I'm actually going Only Fools and Horses there. Quelle surprise. Coronavirus infections down 30% in England and halved in the north during lockdown. What does that tell us, guys? Okay, if we were in class, what does that tell us, class? What does it tell us if... I hated it when teachers did this, didn't you? When they ask you a question as if the answer is self-evident, and then you sit there like that. I think I know the answer. I think I know the answer. And then you kind of want to put your hand up, because teachers have this strange, torturous likelihood of picking the children who don't put their hands in the air. Johnny, do you know the answer? Put your hand in the air. Lockdown did the job, Jane Bentley at the back of the class. Very good, Jane Bentley. Xander, that they manipulate the figures. Forever questioning things at the back of class. Could be a bit of that too. Lockdown worked. Okay, that's right. That's the answer we were looking for. It seems that lockdown has worked. Well, what a bloody surprise. So there we go. And of course that fact on the one hand is really good news. And then on the other, it's like, oh, shitting hell. Now everyone's going to say we're going to have to get in lockdown again because it works. See what I mean? Mark, C. Ellie Clark message. Gosh, you're very calligraphy with grace, aka Sheila Person. You're very, thank you everyone. Ellie Clark. What was Ellie Clark's original message? Sorry, they're flying up so fast here. But it's good to know that you've made yourself feel very present. Ellie Clark, what have you said, Ellie Clark? My dog is going to the vet tonight because I found it. Oh no, Ellie Clark. Well, we know the absolute horror of feeling like you have to go to the vets and you don't know what it is. Especially when they were talking about bone cancer. It was very, 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 very worrying. But you will be, I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. And, just sending you all our love and all our best because it is horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible when your pets get ill. It really is. It makes you think about, and it doesn't just make you feel vulnerable about your pets. You think about everything and everyone. So wishing you the best, best, best of luck. Sophie B, or were we already in decline before lockdown? 4 weeks isn't long enough to have had that much of an impact. We know that from March, April, Sophie B. So what you're saying is the tier system was working, which, to be fair, is what John Campbell was saying. I just wonder whether what really is working here is some system of tiers, but a much looser system of tiers. Do you know what I mean? I think we may be, and I'm sure people like you, Xander, are of this opinion, that we are maybe at an inflection point where after Christmas we have to trust that people will make the best decisions for themselves. Do you know what I mean? And that there will be, in some areas, there will be some places or people that don't, and they will feel the wrath of the virus. And in other places that can or want to, if they observe it, then they're going to be. So in a sense, communities are in control of their own fate and their own destinies. Just going to do that because I can tell it's really annoying people a little bit. Let me just do that. How's that? Ooh, look at him over there. It's a bit perky, isn't he? By the way, those bags there are leaves that are going to go into our composting. Yeah, Xander, you're absolutely right. I know what you mean. The problem is, it's interesting. I was reading a piece last night. I can't remember what it was in. I think it was the Wall Street Journal or something. And they were talking about how to unpack conspiracy theories. No, it was the Times yesterday, or the Observer. And it's really hard because what happens with sort of, not conspiracy, but what happens with this crisis is, it's very hard to get even grains of absolute factual accuracy that can't be interpreted in numerous ways. So as soon as you're afforded a piece of information that you feel is quite, robust or steady or certain, it can quite quickly be sort of, to use a cricketing analogy, turned into a googly and bowled back at you to prove almost any point. And then you're out LBW, which is really annoying. Do you know what I mean? So I did see the Formula One crash. It was remarkable, wasn't it? So yeah, it's very hard to orientate yourself through the facts because the facts as reported by all of our trustworthy news gatherers are also themselves very reliant on what information is given us. Conspiracy, there we go, Brenda McGee. Conspiracy can also be critical thinking. You're absolutely right, critical thinking can happen. But what does tend to happen with some of the worst conspiracy type theories is that, they attach themselves to a grain of truth or fact, and then they sort of spin a narrative that the person creating the conspiracy refuses to then let go of. And I think that's the bit that frustrates me. I mean, I know we've come in for a bit of criticism for kind of changing with that. I think we are mutable creatures. And I think if you go into a crisis like the pandemic or coronavirus, thinking one thing at the beginning and you think the same thing all the way through, I personally, genuinely don't think you can be a human being because it is a mutable, changeable, highs and lowable thing. Do you know what I mean? So you can verge between thinking, oh no, we absolutely need a vaccine, to, oh, well, can we ask a few questions about that? Are the statistics true? Oh yeah, no, we'll trust the statistics for now because, it's imperative that we change. Well, absolutely, isn't it? But, there are lots of crazy stories out there. And I think it's very hard. It's very hard to distinguish between a conspiracy theory and an opinion and a polemic, an extreme opinion and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard. So anyway, on the face of it, coronavirus infections being down is a good thing. But the flip side of that good news is a lot of people, as someone's just mentioned going up here, are now talking about a third lockdown. And there's an interesting, listen to this. I want to see what what's this? Who coined the phrase? Tigsley, who coined the term conspiracy theory and why? The CIA, and it was for deflection and self-protection of their own corrupt, treasonous behavior. Tigsley, now here's the thing. You can be circumspect of lots of conspiracy theories or people who are only interested in conspiracy theories. That is different to not believing that lies are told. I know that there are state lies. You only have to study history, for 6 seconds to see that history is littered with lying, manipulation, propaganda, and all this kind of stuff, for sure. For absolute sure. And I think it's our job collectively as a population to sift through this information, as I hope we do on these lives, and come to reasonable places, not even necessarily answers or solutions, but just as long as we're aware that conspiracy theories can exist at one end, and as long as we're aware that the government can lie at the other, I think we can, we can sort of occupy that middle territory in between. NSOTT, she's shot out the door to a photo shoot. She didn't actually, I'm not entirely sure where she's gone, but I think she'll be back later today. Mrs. O, I had an unfortunate experience with Rick Mail. I was a huge fan of Rick Mail, and he was particularly rude to my studio crew, and it wasn't very nice. Which kind of, when you meet someone that you've idolised a bit, and then suddenly you're left thinking, that's a shame. Anyway, no, but listen to this, guys. What do you make of this? I just want to hear what your thoughts are on this. A piece in the Times today saying, should you visit your relatives for Christmas? I'm going to ask you this question, yes or no. I love it when you give me a binary answer. Should you visit your relatives for Christmas? Just a yes or no. Just a yes or no. Let's go for it, guys. Ooh, that's really good espresso. Oh, that's the best espresso I've had all week. Quite a few yeses. More no's than yeses. Should you visit your relatives for Christmas? I just want to read you this quote from Danny Altman, who is a professor of immunology at Imperial College London. He says, I'm afraid I can't comprehend the calculation that argues that faced with an ongoing winter crisis of a lethal virus that's been destroying our lives and our livelihoods, we need to temporarily suspend the battle for the sake of Christmas. I find it mind-boggling, not just as one who's a rational scientist, but also as an atheist, that if other religions have had to devise ways to distance themselves to deal with Eid, Diwali, Passover, Yom Kippur, why wasn't this possible for Christmas? Will it have been worthwhile if the ITUs start to fill up? I say no to joint Christmas bubbles. Sorry to sound grumpy. Who agrees with that? Who agree? Oh, Amina K, true. Laura Lawler, I agree. At the moment, we have to think of others, not ourselves. I mean, there is this idea. I mean, the first thing I said to Nads was, with that 30% figure, was, well, okay, well, that's gonna go up again now we come out of lockdown. And then you sort of think, well, we stay in lockdown. It's going to go up again whenever we come out of lockdown. I suppose the compelling argument now is that with the vaccine on the horizon, should we really be exerting the fullest level of some kind of lockdown or tier system, which I guess is what they're going to do, or Boris is trying to do, until the vaccine starts to kick through. Good ship lollipop, good point. Leaving people alone and lonely is not thinking of them, it's killing them. Absolutely, we've got to think about other issues. I mean, if you think about it, it's not entirely dissimilar to that first ever press briefing with Chris Whitty when he said, we've got to think about the other. I mean, he was far more vocal right at the beginning about other conditions and aggravated, elements of day-to-day social life and physical mental life that could be endangered due to lockdown. He was far more outspoken about that right at the beginning, wasn't he, than he is these days. So yeah, I don't know. He's being a killjoy. I mean, the point is, I think it's coming down to now an emotional thing, don't you think? I think it's coming down to, for sure, what he says is true, and for sure, lockdown has worked, and for sure, if you keep lockdown, it will work. But I think it's getting to the point now where we have to... Leggy Blonde Jen, I did not see that. Did you see Japan had more suicides last month than COVID? Oh yeah, no. Do you have the link on that? I'd be fascinated to read that. I'll have a look afterwards, but if you've got a quick reference news story, just ping it over to us. The worry is the lockdown is killing more than the virus. Absolutely. I mean, we have got and apparently studies in America show that the travel in America was 10% above what it was last year, I think, for Thanksgiving. So it's going to be intriguing to see how that. But again, it comes down to which side you want to fall on. Is this? We're between a rock and a hard place. It's the devil in the deep blue sea, and many other analogies like that. It's like, do we just have to take a hit and just accept it, and that hit is going to be a hit that we have to take at some point, or do we all essentially lock ourselves away in varying levels of severity, tier 1, 2, 3, 4, semi-lockdown, whatever, in order to protect the NHS and wait for the vaccine to ride in on a white steed? Do you know what I mean? It's where does your tolerance level sit? It's like someone said the other day, and I thought it was a very important thing that they said. They said, it's a little bit like, we can't beat the fact that deaths happen. They do happen. And I'd be fascinated to know, Nadia's been asking this a lot, I'd be fascinated to know how many have died, or how many people on their death certificates this year have died of flu. And if there's virtually no flu season, is that because coronavirus has essentially replaced it and sadly taken many of those lives that would have been taken by the flu? So that's not equating it to the flu, but has essentially COVID-19 swooped in and replaced the horrendous culling process almost of what the flu does every year. And are we existentially in our heads trying to dry ourselves in a running shower, which is just going to run anyway? Do you know what I mean? I mean, all of these kind of questions, I think, are up for grabs. Anne Murray, there is no flu, no cancer, no nothing except COVID. I mean, there must be statistics somewhere of whether people are getting flu or dying of flu. I mean, why are they, they're getting everyone to take I got my letter saying take the flu jab. Faith Goodman, do not let football fans go to matches in different areas with 2,000 other people. Stupid idea. Elspeth Caithness, try being a healthcare worker. Systems are under significant pressure. Be sensible. What you do at Christmas can't have it always. Absolutely, Elspeth. And I mean, and I think that's, for me, the most compelling argument around the whole thing is about the ability or the capacity of the NHS to cope. But then I heard, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because, the NHS and many people who work in the NHS, I mean, it's like the headlines Nadia was reading from last year. The NHS was struggling this time last year under normal circumstances, which kind of suggests that the NHS, if it was struggling this time last year anyway, there's a structural issue and a funding issue for the NHS as it is. And of course, that's another reason why we need to kind of curtail all of our behaviour so that it doesn't get even worse this Christmas. But I do think, in the end, one has to ask a bigger question about the NHS. How do we fund it? So lockdown has worked. Infections are down. You always worry when you see those headlines that the next headlines will be infections are going up, lockdown needs to happen again. But one of the other byproducts of this is it was Black Friday, but what do you think of 24-hour shops? What do you think of physical shops staying open for 24 hours? I mean, obviously, there's the issue. Someone was talking on Sky News, the papers last night, about how for many of these shops, paying the poor staff, dear heart, to work those hours could probably offset any potential money they make again, because they're going to have more people on the shop floor, if you know what I mean. Or the number of people coming into the shop might not be enough. You think it's another contradiction? Good ship lollipop. Julie Eaton, yep, I work nights, 24 hours would be great. What about the people who work in the shops, Rachel Louise? That was the first thought, yeah. Vanessa Wild, 100%, it's a no-brainer. Not fair on the poor staff. Lucy Loxton defeats the point for lockdown. Salsa Trish, that's hard for employees. Anastasia Alexander, I'm getting frustrated with the pressure from others to go out and socialise, go back to the office. I feel very judged for respecting the rules and having any concern about my own health. That's a really important point. You've got to be respected. If you do not feel safe, you're right, there's a sort of, potentially, there could be a new tyranny of don't be so silly, get out there and do it. And I think there's as much of that as there is the other. There's a lot of, unfortunately, in this whole sorry experience this last year, our capacity to point the finger and blame has gone through the roof, hasn't it? It really has. I mean, talk about not being in it all together all the time. Selena Lou Fogg, what about the staff? Seeing as people have been isolated, that will have brought the flu infections down. Derry Shaw, possibly, yeah. Wonder if next winter people will get flu worse because of it. It's funny you should say that, Derry Shaw. I was thinking that because I do remember at some point Nadia reading something out to me about the fact that unless we're out in the world, touching handrails, getting the odd sniffle, getting a bit this, that and the other, unless we're getting all those things, our overall immunity to all sorts of things becomes less effective. And so I got a little bit worried about that. I thought, Christ, bar that persistent cough, weirdly, that I had in sort of January, February this year, I haven't been ill this year. But then I thought, right, as soon as we are all out, okay, with the vaccine for COVID, we're all going to start getting those normal things again, aren't we? That's a very good point. It's a very important point. It's like that idea, isn't it, that it's really important for kids not to eat soil, but to play in muck. And I mean, they're not really nasty muck, but do you know what I mean? Just to get a bit dirty so that you build up natural immunity. Like a vaccine. It's the same concept as behind a vaccine. Sue Reed, 349 flu deaths instead of 26,000 and 13,000 pneumonia, whereas 30,000 plus previous year. Wow, 394 flu deaths. So that could well be. That could well be because, as Derry Shaw says, we just haven't gone out. Nicholas Sinnott, most people in retail are on 0-hour contracts. They will be happy for the overtime. Very true. I just want cinemas to reopen. Henrietta Henson, thanks, Zara. We could breathe then instead of constant consumerism. Sorry, obviously in reply to someone. Erin, the immune system responses take a long time for most common illnesses. Taking a year to be extra careful isn't going to compromise a healthy immune system. Okay, that's good to know. Sonia Donovan, I'm eating healthy. I was very in April. Leggy Blonde John, I just want normality. I know Leggy Blonde John. Jen, I've kind of forgotten what normality is. Do you know what I mean? I think we were all kind of hankering for something. I think, I was saying this to Naj yesterday, either we're going to, if there was like a cure tomorrow and we could all immediately ping back to life as it was, I think we would experience a hedonistic rush of insanity and everyone would go bonkers and do too much and get very ill. And when I said that to Naz, I said, do you think we're going to have a sort of return to, the roaring 20s after World War I and all that? Or, are we going to have this bounce back? And her line on that was, well, it's not going to come back that quickly. And I think she's kind of right. I think if there's a graduated return to normal, what is normal though? I think we're never going to have the same normal, but then I challenge what was normal. I think everyone's normal was different, wasn't it? Salsa Trish, Snow. Now, could we have a white Christmas? Who thinks we're going to have a white Christmas? Hey, I only remember one white Christmas when I was a boy in London. And then it wasn't really white because do you remember in the 70s, snow turned to sludge very quickly. And so we used to run out of school and just hurl grey sludge at each other. Dear heart's dreaming of a white Christmas. All Maddie's ever wanted was a white Christmas for her birthday, because of course it's Maddie's 18th this Christmas in the North. It's funny as that, isn't it? Yeah, the story is always, and this is no disrespect to the North at all, but it always says snow forecast across UK as freezing fog, and then you read the story and they go in the Highlands of Scotland. And I always kind of figure, well, in the Highlands of Scotland there's always a bit of snow. Do you know what I mean? The papers loved it, especially the Daily Express. They always lead on... No, Nadia's not. She's back here later today. She's doing a photo shoot this morning. They always lead with a weather forecast story, and then you look at it and it's like on the Isle of Skye. Well, no shit, Sherlock. It is a bit cold up on the Isle of Skye. So I don't know if we're going to get a snow. Every time they've said white Christmas, it never happens. Has anyone lived through a white Christmas? Have you lived through a white Christmas? Do you like white Christmases? We had a white Christmas in 2010. That was a crazy year. Snow in the Highlands, yeah. Nicholas Straw, you'll do. Rain in December, normal. It's always bloody rain, isn't it? And as Peter Kay always says, it's that real rain, wet rain. Do you know that wet rain that gets through everything? I'm just having a little look through... oh, look, Joe Biden suffers hairline fracture in foot after slipping. For a moment last night, we didn't know how serious that was because they wouldn't let the reporters off his reporter bus. You know how everyone can travel with the president. It's really weird, isn't it? Yeah, come with me. It's like the ultimate kind of school trip. But who's the head teacher? It's just the president-elect. Oh, cool. He's got off the bus, he's tripped up, he's hurt himself. And then all the reporters were kept on the bus whilst he went in for an X-ray or an MRI. But there was a moment there where you just thought, hang on a minute, is Kamala going to be quite quickly promoted? So yeah, White Christmas. Now this story captured me. I love a story of this. Years and years ago, we did a documentary for Nat Geo all about survivors of extreme things. What's his name? Was it Ben? Not Ben Fogle. What's the name of, who's the guy behind The Island? What's the name of the adventurer? God, I can't remember his name. What's the adventurer who presents The Island on Channel 4? Come on, someone quick. First one. What's his name? Bear Grylls, that's it, thank you. I did the first ever interview with Bear Grylls. He was very young and he survived a terrible, terrible loss of life on Everest when he was climbing there. But I did an interview years ago with Tony Bullimore. Do you remember him? Trapped under the hull of a ship, survived on a Mars bar. And it was all about really the mind and the mentals of explorers and survivors and what makes them, essentially it's a very selfish pursuit. Ranulph Fiennes, we did all of that. Anyway, this chap, a man who vanished at sea, was found clinging to the bow of his capsized boat, around 86 miles off the coast of Florida after almost 2 days at sea. Wow, and there's a photo of him just on the tip of it, like he's sitting on the nose of a dolphin. Quite something. Stuart B had set off on his vessel from Cape Marina in Port Canaveral before it was crippled by mechanical problems. And they found him just attached to his... Do go online and check it out. The headline is Missing Sailor 62 Clinging to Capsized Boat. And he looks like, as he's climbing out of the water, there's a photo of him, he looks like Joaquin Phoenix. That's so cool, isn't it? I mean, I'd love a photo of me survive. I'd love to survive something like that. Crazy shit. So anyway, so Brexit carries on this week. Always joyful. Christmas is coming. Little headline here in The Independent. Parents, if they could, would avoid Christmas if they could, due to the combination of financial and mental health pressures. So, we mustn't forget Christmas is a very stressful time as well. I remember as a young parent being incredibly challenged at that time of year. It's hard. Joaquin Phoenix, that's it. And of course, there's always a nice image of Lawrence Fox sort of kind of doing his own thing in the world, for always having lovely lunch with all his large group of friends as if there isn't a pandemic going on. So there you go, guys. That's our news flow for today. Lots of love. As I say, a podcast, a vlog will be landing later today. I'm clearing out the system. It's like we're having a vlog enema. Vlog enema. That's a new word. A vlog enema, where you throw lots of stuff into something and out comes vlog. There you go. So have a lovely day, guys, and we will see you later. Hit the thumbs up if you've enjoyed our little chin wag. We will be coming to you now, guys. Guysy. Tonight and tomorrow night, okay, Vlogmas starts tomorrow, but tonight and tomorrow night, last night shifts. Take care, guys. Bye.